Welcome to Highfalutin Low Carb, the random web series where we find and test the best low carb recipes this crazy internet has to offer. Today, we're tackling low carb crackers. Stay tuned. All right, folks, low carb crackers. Apparently, this is one of the holy grail recipes of low carb living because you guys have requested it so many times. Now, before we begin, I just want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Atkins for bringing us this week's video. Atkins has partnered and sponsored this video, and you know that I don't accept a lot of partnerships or sponsorships on this channel. My rapport with you and the honesty that we have together is the hallmark of this channel. So if I do accept a sponsorship, it is because I feel strongly about that, and it's only ever happened one other time on this channel. That's the case here. It was, like a lot of people, Atkins was my first foray into low carb eating. Some 20 years ago in high school, I had a well-worn, well-creased copy of the Atkins Diet Revolution, I think it was the name of it. And that's where I first learned about what eating refined carbohydrates does to the human body. As we know, we can't eat things like regular crackers because they contain wheat and corn and other refined carbohydrates, which are treated as sugar in the body. Even though there's not sugar on the ingredient list of a recipe, if it contains refined carbohydrates, the body treats those carbs as sugar. This is called the hidden sugar effect. So we know that we can't eat those. So what we're gonna do today is test 5 low carb cracker recipes that will not send our blood sugar up and down on the roller coaster that causes cravings and the storage of fat in the body from the overconsumption of those refined carbohydrates. If you live a low carb lifestyle like Atkins, then you can mitigate a lot of the disaster of blood sugar crashes and cravings and all of the fat and weight gain that goes along with it. Be sure to check out Atkins.com. I'll leave a link here and in the description below, and you can learn more about the hidden sugar effect and learn some smart swaps. But today, we are testing 5 low carb cracker recipes, so let's get started. All right, so our 5 recipes that we're starting with, the first one is low carb cheese crackers, Cheddar Basil bites, by Keto Connect, and this is our coconut flour recipe. The second is 3 ingredient homemade almond crackers, and this is by eatingbirdfood.com. Brittany Mullins is the recipe developer there. For this one, obviously that's our almond flour option. Third is Keto Fathead crackers, eggless, by Headbanger's Kitchen, another one of our good friends. And then the fourth one is crispy Multiseed keto crackers by Keto Diet App. And then our last and fifth is just the simple melted cheese. Some people call them crisps, some people call them wisps, but you'll know what I mean when we get there. So let's get started on this first recipe. This is the low carb cheese crackers, Cheddar Basil bites by KetoConnect.net. Again, all the recipes are going to be down here on the screen and in the video description below. So let's get started on this. This makes 24 of these bites. You start with some butter that is at room temperature, and you add to that some heavy whipping cream. We're going to cream these together with a hand mixer. If you want to know exactly how much butter or cream or any of the other ingredients, you're going to have to check the video description below or use the link here on the screen. If you've spent any time on this channel at all, you know that I don't always give exact measurements for recipes. And there's a reason for that. These are not my recipes, we're testing them, but the people who did the work deserve the traffic. So I want to send you to their website so you can get all the ingredients and all the instructions there. So check them out here. All right, the oven's preheated, it's 325. So now to our cream and butter, we're going to add coarsely shredded cheddar cheese, and they were pretty specific that it needed to be coarsely shredded. Don't use your fine grater. Use a coarse grater if you want to get the cracker-like consistency. So I followed their directions. And we're also going to add some shredded Parmesan cheese to that as well. And you just combine this with a spatula. All right, so after you've got the cheddar and the Parmesan combined with that, you are now going to add your coconut flour. Now this is very dry, so I'm hoping that this is going correctly. So we're going to add some coconut flour, and as you know, it doesn't take much. Coconut flour is very hygroscopic, so it takes up a lot of moisture. So, but what do I always say? You got to sift it. You got to sift your coconut flour and your almond flour particularly. Look at that. You would never get that out of there. Nope. Run it through a sieve. Takes but 5 seconds. So somehow we've got to incorporate this dry coconut flour with this dry cheese. We're going to see what we can do. Now, to this we're also going to add some fresh basil. This is just fresh chopped basil. And it even says, the instructions say, you may have to use your hands to get this incorporated. So we're going to see how well we can do with our spatula. But if we got to switch to a hand, yeah, I think I'm going to have to switch to my hand because there's no way. All right, so we're going to take us some parchment paper and get this ready to roll out. We've got our parchment paper, and I'm just going to try to mix some of this up by hand, like they said, to get it incorporated well. And this is some dry dough. There's not much to it. And we got to roll this booger out thin, too. That feels pretty good. That's a hard loaf of dough right there, buddy. Woo! All right. So on a piece of parchment it goes. We're going to take another piece of parchment. It says make a ball. And now we're just going to roll this out, but I got to wash my hands. Hold on. I'll be right back. Okay, so now we have just got to roll this out, flatten it with your hand as much as you can, and then with a rolling pin, try to get this to 1/4 of an inch. Woo, that is some thick dough. Now, we're going to try to get 24 bites or crackers out of this, and it does say that you are probably not going to get all 24 out in the first rolling. You're going to have to cut yours with a cookie cutter and then re-roll what's left of the dough and try to get the remainder of the 24 crackers out of the recipe. So we're going to test that here in a minute. They said to bake it on parchment. I'm going to try my new Seal Pat pan here. And off comes your top sheet. It looks good. Smells kind of good. Butter and cheese, whew, basil. So, I don't have a cookie cutter, a round cookie cutter. All my cookie cutters are weird shapes like Christmas and stars and weird things. And this is not going to do well with delicate little edges. So, I didn't have a cookie cutter, so I'm using some weird little glass. So, don't laugh at me. And cut your shapes out. Try to be judicious with your use of space to get as many of these as you can out of here. Now, if you watch their video, they wrestle with these, getting them off of the parchment into the pan. So we're gonna find out. So I don't know what to try to get this off of here with, because not much of it's going to want to participate. Let's get the things out of the way, the borders. And let's see if I can get, oh Lord, that ain't going to work, kids. So, oh, I got another idea, hold on. I've got a small offset spatula that's much thinner that I might be able to be a little more productive with. So let's see if we can get them off of here. Yeah, that's not so bad. Will it come off of there though? Get off of there. Get off of there. Yeah. Okay. The first one's always the hardest, right? This is a test of patience, you guys. All right, so I have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16 of these here. So I've got to re-roll this, the rest of this, to get our, it is difficult to work with, to get the rest of our 24. And I bet what's going to happen is my little glass is smaller than their cookie cutter. So when you're, you know, figuring out the macros for this, just realize the carbs per bite and per cracker are going to differ depending on the size that you made them. So, I mean, I know that sounds like common sense, but some people don't get that. I don't know why. All right, so let's re-roll it and go again. All right, so I'm going to go in the oven with these. They don't take long. I'll finish rolling this out and put them on the other pan off camera. But this will let us taste them at least. They look really good. In the oven they go, 325 for, I think, 12 minutes. Yep, 12 minutes. I'll meet you back here. See you soon. All right, so we have taken these out of the oven. Their recipe specifically said 12 minutes, and she says to check them as you get near the end because you do not want them to burn or overcook. I left these in for almost 16 minutes, so about 4 minutes extra. Dun, dun, dun. Those look rather nice. All right, so I'm going to take these and let them just stay on this rack. We're going to put it on the back of the stove back here and let them just cool. And we're going to test all these at the end. And I'll get set up for the next recipe, and I'll meet you back here. This is 3-ingredient homemade almond crackers by a website called eatingbirdfood.com. That's a cute name. Be sure to check out the link here. Go check out Brittany Mullen's recipe for 3-ingredient homemade almond crackers. And she really means 3 ingredients unless you count water, so then it's 4 ingredients. But sounds pretty easy. It's literally some almond flour and a little sprinkle of salt. And obviously, I'm not going to say it. Yes, I am. Sift. Sift, kids. Maybe I need a t-shirt that says that. Who would buy a Sift Kids t-shirt? I don't know. Anyway, get this through a sieve. Okay, now to our sifted almond flour and our little pinch of salt, we're also going to add some ground flaxseed. I ground this just a few moments ago. They say to buy it whole and grind it yourself to avoid some of that off-putting flavor that some people find in flax seeds. And then, literally, add water. There's not much to this. This makes me hopeful that these will come out super crispy. You know, I mean, that's the whole, to me, that is the point of a cracker. Isn't that the name? Isn't that what that name means? I should have looked this up. Somebody look that up and tell me in the comments below. Is a cracker called a cracker because it should crack and snap? What do you call that? Onomatopoeia? When things are spelled and the word sounds like the sound, like pop and bang and wow. Maybe cracker is also an onomatopoeia. I don't know. So anyway, get this turned out onto your parchment. So roll them as soon as you can, and then we don't have to remove these. We're gonna bake them on this parchment paper. So you kind of want to make a rectangle, she said. She says if you can sprinkle it with a little bit of flake sea salt, that it really kind of punches up the flavor. I happen to have just a little bit, oddly. So lightly, she said it makes it very pretty. So gently sprinkle this. She said use your hand and pat it down gently so that the flake salt sticks in the dough. Boop, 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 boop. And now, she cut hers into squares. She said 1/2 inch to 1 inch thick. Wide. Get out of there. Oh, I'm gonna start in the middle. Is that stupid? I'm gonna start in the middle. She goes one step further, gilds the lily, as you could say. And she takes a toothpick, peep, and sticks a center hole in each one of these crackers. It's an optional step, but she said it makes it look cute. So, this goes in a 350-degree oven for 20 to 25 minutes. And it either cools on a rack or you can cool it on the pan. So that's what I'm going to do. These are going in the oven, and I will meet you back here in about 20 to 25 minutes. All right, guys, so we are done with our crackers. They got a little more brown around the sides. You remember when she said, you know, kind of tend to them towards the end, and if you need to, move them away. I ignored that advice, but they look like they're crispy and crunchy. I'm not going to dare try to get them off while they're hot. I'm just going to let this live on the back burner. I feel like they're going to be nice and crispy though. So, all right, these are going on the back burner, and we're on to recipe number 3. All right, so now we're going to take care of our third recipe, and this is by Headbanger's Kitchen, and it's a recipe for baba ganoush and keto fathead crackers eggless. That's the full name of the recipe, as you'll find it on his website. Baba ganoush is that wonderful eggplant dip. We're not making that today. We're making the part of the recipe that's the keto fathead crackers. And this is eggless, so a lot of people have some issues with eggs. So this will be a good option for you. Takes about 20 minutes to cook, but this is fathead dough based, so you know exactly how we handle that. It's shredded mozzarella cheese, a little bit of cream cheese, and again, if you want to know the exact amounts of this, what do? Check down here. Go to that website, headbangerskitchen.com. All of this is in the video description below. And this is going to be microwaved for 1 minute. I'll meet you back here. All right, so our mozzarella cheese and cream cheese is melted. He adds a little bit of salt and pepper. I've already added that into my flour over here, almond flour. But he does add some parsley, some fresh chopped parsley. And then he adds his almond flour and salt and pepper. I've already sifted this, so be sure that you do as well. And then you know how this can be a bit of a bear to get together, so you're just going to work on this. Now normally, a lot of fathead dough recipes do have that egg in it. But that's, sort of for leavening. That gives you some lift. But we don't need lift. We need it flat like cracker. So it's interesting that it's an easy way to do without the egg and the baking powder. So make sure this is combined good. Like we say all the time, if you don't combine this well, you're just going to wind up with cheesy bread instead of the magic that is fathead dough. This has got to be rolled out thin. It's not much dough, huh? And he said to do it on parchment, but I'm going to defy that recommendation, and I'm going to roll it out. Come here. I'm going to roll it out on this seal pad. Oh, it's not a seal pad. It's this silicone mat. This is kind of a new thing for me. I've always used parchment, but whoop, if this doesn't go well, we'll remake it and do it the way Sahil said. So, speaking of what Sahil said, I gave that all a good mix. The last time I did a Headbanger's Kitchen recipe, one of the main comments was like, why didn't you say give it all a good mix? Go check out his channel. He's a fun guy. All right, let's move to this area. So you want this a rectangle because you're going to cut it after it's cooled, not before. So I'm just going to get it as thin and rectangle-y as I can get it. And again, this may be a mistake to just do this on this silicone mat, but what y'all think? Reckon it'll be all right? We're going to find out together. Boop! All right, that's pretty thin. That's pretty thin. I don't know how much better I could get it. Look at there! Gosh, that looks good. Okay, let me get a pan. Hold on. That looks wicked good. Whew! Y'all know I love me some fathead dough. So, boop, in this goes for 10 minutes or until golden brown. Cut it immediately, and then he says serve them hot. So I'm going to taste one as it's warm, but I really want to see how long they're going to last and are they going to stay crispy. So in this goes, I'll meet you back here in about 10 minutes. All right, so we are back. This has been in the oven for about 11 minutes, and this is where we're going to go ahead and cut this. It looks pretty good. And I'm assuming I can cut on a silicone pad. I'm not too terribly used to cooking with them, but we're going to find out. We're running out of space on the back burner, but these are going on the back burner. Starting 4, recipe number 4. I'll meet you back here. Thank you for being patient. We're almost there. This is our last of the actual legit recipes. This is number 4. This is crispy multi-seed keto crackers by Keto Diet App. And this is a very interesting recipe as it is basically just nuts and some seasoning and some water. So in this goes pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds. Now I happen to have some black sesame seeds already on hand, so in the sake of just using up what I had, we used black sesame seeds. and sunflower seeds. And again, if you want to know how much of each of these, because there are specific amounts, be sure to check the link on the screen now or in the video description below. And this is flax seeds and chia seeds. So that is all very interesting. And now it takes a little bit of salt and pepper and some onion or garlic powder. I chose onion. So before we add the water, you stir this up. Y'all should have seen me going through the grocery store aisle, because I went through the bulk aisle to get this stuff, because I feel like it's fresher in the bulk aisle and I can smell it, you know, instead of just a package that may have been sitting on the shelf. Anyway, it was just funny to see. I was getting some side eyes from the cash register girl, because I reckon she thought I was making enough granola to go the Appalachian Trail. I bought way too much of these nuts. So even if I don't like this, I'm going to be having these crackers for a while. So once you've got that somewhat mixed up, take out half a cup of this and put this in your food processor, grind it up, and then we're going to put it back in our mix. And I guess what this has done is essentially given us a meal, you know, like an almond meal or a flour nut meal, along with our whole seeds. Combine it again, put in your water, mix this up, and it has to sit right here on the counter for 10 to 15 minutes. I guess all these seeds are going to absorb this water, you know how chia does, and flax seeds too. So I'll meet you back here in about 10 minutes. So we're back. We're ready to put this in the oven. This is soaked for 10 minutes, and it is odd. It feels odd. It just got really thick and gelatinous. It doesn't look as thick as hers did in her video, but I followed the recipe exactly. So, all right. So all we got to do is put this on. She said a piece of silicone mat or parchment, and spread it out. It has an unusual smell. I've got to be honest with you. It's not bad. It's just very, let's call it earthy. And some of that's onion powder too. But so spread this out thin, and we got to get 24 crackers out of this. And then it bakes for 45 minutes, 40 to 45 minutes, or until golden brown and crispy. So once I cut this, you cut them before they go in. Once I cut this, you won't see me again here until we are ready to taste these things, because our last little recipe, and it's been a recipe really, because it's just melting a square of cheese in the oven, but that's a very popular low-carb chip substitute, so why not try it? If I'm here making recipes to test, might as well test as many as I can. Boom! All right, guys, this goes in the oven for 40 to 45 minutes. We'll let them cool for a bit, and we're going to taste everything. So I'll meet you back here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we're back. Shy of about 4.5 hours of cooking, we now have 5 different crackers, low-carb cracker alternatives to try. So let's just kind of go through these. If you want to take a look here, you see there is quite a variety, right? There is a lot of variety here. This first one up here is the first one we cooked, the little circles. Those are the low-carb cheese crackers, Cheddar Basil Bites by KetoConnect.net. If you make 24 bites out of those, then they're a half of a carb per cracker. So that's the key to these things, is getting uniformity of size, right? So you've calculated how much, what the macros are for the entire recipe, but your serving size is going to depend on how big did you make them? How many did you get out of it? So if you make the 24 that they called for out of the entire recipe, then that's a half a net carb and 58 calories. It's a 0.9 grams of total carbs. You've got 0.4 grams of fiber. Protein is 1.7 grams, and fat is 5 grams. So let's see what these are like. I gotta say, they're beautiful. I mean, they look delicate. The basil was a great addition. I've already nibbled on one of these earlier while they were cooling. They have firmed up a little bit more than I thought that they were going to. Okay. Very flavorful. Not necessarily a crack, like a cracker, you know, a snap, but extremely savory. Very good. You would be hard pressed to dip that. Like if you wanted to put that in some of that baba ganoush or some guacamole or queso or something like that, you'd have a hard time dipping that. And I seem to remember in the video, maybe Matt said something about it being soft or something soft and delicate. I'd call that like a butter cracker, you know? All right, so the next one was these guys over here, and that is the 3-ingredient homemade almond crackers, and that's by eatingbirdfood.com. It's Brittany Mullen's recipe. And the interesting thing about these is how easy they were to make, and they are gluten-free, dairy-free, egg-free, and vegan. If you make 40 crackers out of this, remember we sliced them, if you make 40, one serving is 10 of these, 10 crackers. In that 10 crackers, you get 173 calories. Fat is 15 grams of fat. You've got 7 grams of total carbs. Fiber, you got 4 grams, so that's 3 grams of net carbs for all 10 of crackers. And protein, you've got 6 grams there. Now, I got to tell you, these turned out beautifully to me. They look so much, I don't know if it'll focus on that, the little flake of salt, the little divot we put in the middle. I mean, it kind of did make it look good. Now, can you hear that? That's a cracker. Did you hear it snap? The salt on top makes it perfect. Those are extremely flavorful and they are crispy. That is a cracker. Doggone, that is good. That is very good. And it's sort of a mellow flavor, so it would lend itself well to be a dip, you know, be dipped in something. The third one is Keto Fathead Crackers Eggless, and this is by Headbanger's Kitchen. And these are also, I mean, pretty crusty and crackery. This recipe makes 8 servings. That's the entire recipe there on this small plate. But one serving of that is 88 calories. You've got 2 total carbs. You've got 1 gram of fiber, so it's 1 net carb per serving. And fat, you've got 8 grams total, and protein is 4 grams. Let's try one of these. They look great. I mean, you know, it's Fathead dough, and you know I like Fathead dough. It can be used in savory or sweet goods, and without a leavener in it and without eggs, it lies flat. It becomes kind of crackery. You could definitely dip with that. It doesn't have as much of a snap, really. I mean, it kind of bends a little bit, but it's sturdy. The bottom is crisp. Could definitely get out a dip with that. And just a lot of flavor from the cheese. Okay. It's getting a little dry mouth. Sorry, I feel like, you know, on the sitcoms when they would eat crackers and try to whistle. That's what I feel like right now. Okay, this one here, it looks a lot different. It looks a lot different than the others. These are the crispy multi-seed keto crackers by Keto Diet App. And these are very interesting. Now, remember that I used black sesame seeds instead of white sesame seeds. So yours, if you made them with white sesame seeds, would probably be a little lighter colored. And these are allergy friendly. There's no eggs, there's no dairy, there's no nuts. Believe it or not, those are seeds, and all of those are seeds and not tree nuts. And there are no nightshades. Per cracker is 2.7 grams of total carbs. You've got 1.9 grams of net of fiber for a total of 0.8 grams per cracker of net carbs, so less than 1 gram per cracker. 2.2 grams of protein, 4.7 grams of fat, and about 58 calories. So this is also pretty crispy. It's good. I will stick by my comment of earthy. You gotta like nuts and seeds. I'm gonna be honest with you. You've gotta like seeds. It's tough for your teeth. I don't know. I think that is a personal preference of what you like to eat. Yeah, lots of seeds. Well, I'm just gonna put that on the side there. And then our last here is the easy peasy thing that we all know to do. These are just those ultra thin little crisps of sliced cheese, deli cheddar cheese. These are the ultra thin slices. If you want a little thicker cracker that you can maybe get a little more vigorous with your dipping with, just use a thicker piece of cheese. Super duper crispy, super duper easy. Your macros are just whatever brand of cheese you bought. Just use that. These are great in a salad. I personally use them sometimes. They would hold up to dipping. Well, maybe. But they are crispy and good and flavorful. Crispy. So, what's the verdict here? I think there's something for everybody here. It depends on your taste. This is buttery and soft and would be great as just a snack by itself. There's so much flavor in the Keto Connect recipe that you don't really need a dip. It's just a cracker into itself. These are, to me personally, the most cracker-like. These are the 3-ingredient almond flour by Eating Bird Food. What is it called? eatingbirdfood.com. Those are fantastic. Those are fantastic and really serve their purpose of a cracker to dip in. These I would put as my second favorite as far as the most cracker-like. The Headbanger's Kitchen. Those are also super flavorful. You know I like Fathead dough. These would keep pretty well. I would imagine these were probably better immediately when they came out. They would be crisper then, so you could maybe even toss it in the oven before you serve them if you're just rewarming them. This is not a personal choice that I would make. I can see where you only need to eat one of these crackers because it is so much. Like it's a lot of fiber and chewing and a lot of seeds. I mean, it's like a mouthful of seeds and granola, which a lot of people love. And then these crackers, you know, I don't really call this a recipe. I wanted them in the battle because so many of us use them as our cracker alternative that I wanted to see how they compared to these. But if I were making some guacamole and wanted something to dip in them, I would make the almond flour ones. If I were making like the Indian baba ganoush, I'd probably make the Fathead dough. So there you have it, folks. Low carb crackers. It can be done. There's a recipe here for every taste. Decide which one you want to make and let me know what you think down in the comments below. And if I missed one of your favorite low carb cracker recipes, be sure to leave a link somewhere down in the comments below. Share the love. Thank you for coming along on this journey. I say it every time, but these videos are a way for me to maintain my low carb way of eating, and looking in the end of this camera every week or two, or as soon as I can get to you, really keeps me honest. So I thank you for that. Thank you also to Atkins for partnering with me and sponsoring this week's video. Be sure you visit Atkins.com. You can learn more about the hidden sugar effect and refined carbohydrates. You can get some fantastic recipes and learn more about these smart swaps, like swapping low carb crackers for traditional crackers. Thank you to my Patreon sponsors. If you are not a subscriber, be sure you hit the subscribe button down below. If you are a subscriber, be sure you hit the bell button down below to let you know just as soon as I release a new video. So there you have it, folks. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.